Hey, this is Mark.
This is Ben.
We're in the band Nothing More, and you're watching Austin Underground.
All right, hello. My name is Christopher Peck. I am here with Nothing More. How are you guys doing today? You guys been touring for a lot. I feel like. I mean, this is my third time seeing you guys within a year, so it shows you that shows you how much they've been going around. How's that all been? This touring cycle and everything that, especially now that you're an opening act, not a headliner. So.
It's good. You're absolutely right. We're probably pretty tired.
Yeah.
lots of touring, but yeah, doing well. Where else did you see us?
I got to see you guys when you were in San Antonio last fall. That was an amazing show. And then I saw you guys when you were at Emos in Austin earlier this year.
That's awesome. Those are both awesome shows. We had some pretty cool support. Yeah, sick.
Well, yeah, great. And well, going off that note, so when I saw you guys in San Antonio, one of the cool things you guys did at the end of the show was bringing like all the openers on, and like if I remember correctly, in this nice like shirtless drum sesh. Could you guys talk about how orchestrating that and putting that all together and basically where that all idea came from?
So generally what happens on tour is the last show of every tour, the headliner pranks the opening bands. So, however, this show was like the ultimate pranking, to where even the other bands decided that they were going to prank us and prank the other bands too. Like I remember the Hell or High Water drummer coming out during My Ticket Home set, setting up a drum set right in front of him and playing the same song. Like he learned the exact same fills and everything and just played it to him. I know I played badminton against Dan. We brought out a whole badminton net and rackets and everything. It was wild. I think that was our best pranking, perhaps. So it was a lot of fun. There was no rehearsal by any means, so it was all spur of the moment, just random ideas. And we look forward to that last show of every tour, and really just letting everybody know that it's, hey, we're all here together, we're doing the same thing, we're all on the same team, and we're gonna have a good time with it. And yeah, thank you. You know.
Have you seen now this is obviously a different tour. I feel like a lot bigger venues, bigger stages. Obviously, with Breaking Benjamin and Five Finger Death Punch at the top of it. Has been there a similar vibe between the bands on this tour? Or what's been the vibe with you guys?
Well, it's nice coming into the tour pretty much already knowing everybody. We've done a Five Finger tour before and a Breaking Ben tour before, so we're already semi-close. So there isn't any of that awkward, like, I've seen that guy every single day for all of tour, but I still don't know his name.
Yeah.
Or have it the opposite way around. So it's nice. Everything's really chill and calm, not stressful. There doesn't seem to really be any egos flying around either. So that's nice. It makes things a whole lot easier.
For sure, great. Now, so you guys just released, well, not just released, but you released your new album, The Stories We Tell Ourselves. Congratulations on the record, especially with the Grammy nomination and everything like that. But now, one thing maybe this is more niche for Nothing More fans, but I've always been a big fan of your interludes with Alan Watts going on and everything like that. So I was wondering if you guys and you can interpret this in any way you want to. What's your favorite interlude you guys done for either your the self-titled or this new album?
Yeah.
What's it called? I think it's the no, what's the React Respond one? I believe before the Great Divorce, because yeah, it was this little it's kind of like a failed song more or less that Mark and Dan and I were jamming on one day, and then Mark and I kind of took after the fact and added some layers to it on my laptop and was kind of toying around with it for a while. I'm like, this is really cool. Like even if it's not a song, we should do something with this. And Johnny found some really cool Alan Watts knowledge to throw in on there, and yeah, it just came together really well. I don't know. I like listened to that one more than the rest of them, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. That was a lot of fun. It's nice taking a different approach to songwriting in that aspect, because it's your lyrics and the voice isn't your melody anymore. It becomes about other things, like the whole Alone Together one right before Go to War. It's this old string arrangement part Johnny had a long time ago, and we ended up transposing it to the key of Go to War to make it go in. But it's a nice breath, because you listen through the whole album, and sometimes your ear needs a break, and sometimes it's so much pummeling of drums and cymbals and distorted guitars that it's nice to just let me prepare for what's about to come and kind of settle into this mood emotionally. And some of our favorite albums kind of do a lot of that. Like, I know I love the Dredge album, El Cielo. What's the Pariah one that they have too?
Pariah, the Parrot, and the something.
Yeah, they have a lot of little cool instrumentals there. They're definitely a favorite band of ours. But yeah, I really like that one. Sorry, I kind of talked about a lot of stuff. Yeah. I was super happy with Jeer and Pyre as well. That one was really cool because it was another like failed song idea from a long time ago that Johnny ended up kind of tinkering with and to make something else completely, and it helps like the whole theme of the album, like tying it all together with some of the main points lyrically in all the songs. So it's cool to kind of like help focus everything.
Yeah, kind of give it that sense of structure, give it that narrative a little bit clearer, for sure. And then like you guys kind of mentioned that for React Respond, it kind of came off like a failed song idea. Is that like normally how these interludes are kind of coming off, like the ideas that already existed, or were any of them written like intentionally because you knew they were gonna be interlude like off the bat?
A couple of them were written as like this is going to be an instrumental, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it is like this part was so cool, we really want it to make the record, and then it's like let's just be artistic about it, and like Ben and I kind of took that one on and just kind of like, hey, what if this is an instrumental instead of a song, and reapproach it. There were a ton of other parts to that song, but we just kind of focused on that groove, the all that stuff. So it was cool, and it was another little prog element that we could kind of put on the album because we're big prog influenced band for sure.
All right, well, great. So again, you've been touring a lot, especially headlining and everything. Can you talk about what you've basically what you've learned or what you've kind of gained from being a headlining band that you can reapply to now going back and being like a supporting act and things like that, or is there even like a difference in the way you approach it?
Really, it's kind of a lot of the downtime stuff. I feel like just really trying to utilize the time that we have before, and especially supporting. We have time afterwards. Try to be productive on things if we can, whether it's working on new song ideas or just even just resting and just trying to manage our time so that we can make it through the tour well rested, rather than on headliners. It feels like it's a little easier to burn the candle a little too hard, playing until 11 or something at night, and then you got not end up falling asleep till a little later on. So yeah, that's probably the biggest difference to me, I guess.
Yeah, I'd agree for sure.
Then now moving on to your writing process and things like that, and especially specifically to like I think the song "Fade In, Fade Out." If I remember correctly, just from hearing things, it seemed like that. If I remember correctly, that was like a song that was more personal to you than it was to Johnny. Can you talk about what it was like to, I guess, we'll talk about the difference in the writing process for a song that I guess like is more spearheaded by you, and one that'd be more spearheaded by Johnny, at least conceptually, or is there areas that even like something to be noticeable?
Yeah, every song's different. We're always open to that idea of it starting from a different place, whether it's any one of us. And that one kind of started, in a more singer-songwriter place for me, as I have, several like the songs, that are in my particular arsenal, that aren't just guitar riffs. And that idea kind of came, right before my son was about to be born. My wife and I kind of finally agreed on a name to name our son Phoenix, actually, because his first sonogram kind of like outlined the wings, and it was a special moment. And so just kind of sitting on that idea, I kind of had a dream or woke up in the middle of the night and kind of got the fade in, fade out analogy, and the whole crossfade passing of the torch idea, like, that our Father does to us, and then that I can only hope I can do to my son. So I showed it to the guys, and it's really hard, and you come from a vulnerable place a lot of the times, because I trust these guys, but that means like I trust them to either tell me yes or tell me no. And it was very personal, and the song was very different I might add, when it started,
Mhm.
and but having gone through this process so many times, I know that the product will be so much better. And so they totally heard me out and jumped on board, and we got to cranking, and it was neat to have this song be kind of like the epic one on the
Yeah.
album, and have it be I don't know, almost come from like a Led Zeppelin place tonally,
Yeah, I see what
with
you're saying.
with it being musically kind of less, if that makes sense.
builds too. I guess.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like I really appreciate the song. I think it's also a song that, I mean, you didn't put it as a single. And I think it's really kind of like done very well, despite that. So that's been great. Now you kind of mentioned there that you kind of started as a singer-songwriter kind of song. Do most of the songs begin like that? Or I know some of the songs can be very beat-driven and things. Like, so do some songs begin like how does it that differ? I guess from a song that's maybe like very a lot more acoustic. To something that's like like Don't Stop, that is very like beat-driven, and almost like has obvious like rap and hip-hop influence and things. So.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like I was saying before. Like every song starts from a different place. Sometimes, like that one was more singer-songwriter. Go to War just kind of all happened. I kind of had a guitar riff, and then Johnny was feeling very emotional about this topic, and it just kind of all of a sudden popped up. But there's songs like Great Divorce that it's just kind of a jam, and it's like it more happened all musically. The lyrics and concept completely came after. Same with Funny Little Creatures. Like, you wouldn't believe what that song started with.
Oh, okay.
It was this kind of crazy trance Johnny programming idea that we tried to jam out and figure out the parts too, and it just wasn't really working.
Sounded like something you'd hear if you were standing outside of like a dance club waiting to get in. And you overheard just like a. Fuck is that? So yeah, and it ended up writing itself out of the song, which tends to happen. And then there's stuff like Ripping Me Apart kind of came from Johnny just having the idea of like the Ripping Me Apart with the echo swells and all that, and we ended up taking a song that we had and kind of applying it to that concept, and it's like, oh, this works, cool. So yeah, it to what Mark's saying, it really just is a per song basis. Same with even Don't Stop. Like a lot of the hip hop element to that came after the song was there. We're like, oh, this is cool, but I don't know. We should. It just like it kind of needs something, and all of a sudden Johnny,
Went James Brown on it.
He, hit up our inbox like, hey, I have this idea. Check it out. And we listened to it like, whoa, oh, this is pretty interesting. All right, and I mean, it just kind of went from there. So it's always like where the song starts and where it ends is very unknown until we get there, and there's just a lot of room for a creative influence at any point along the way, even in the mixing stage, to where it's like, oh, this could drastically change the song. So yeah, it kind of depends. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't shy away from going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
In every regard, even if we think like the song is finished and one person isn't settled on an idea, it's like, okay, well, let's try that first. Even though we're frustrated and tired and just want to be done with the song, it's like, who knows what the outcome may be. That old way will always be there, and I think a lot of people forget that.
It's always something you can rely on, but keep your mind open for like all the ideas and everything.
Yeah.
For sure. And then now one thing I want to talk about, you guys again, not only just been touring really recently heavily, but you've been touring for a long time. Can you talk about just your individual, each of your individual approaches to kind of not only just perform, but how you've kind of like engaged the audience and kind of like I've always been fascinated by that dynamic between the band and the audience. How that dynamic has how you kind of learned from that, and how that's changed from when you guys were starting out to now, obviously.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think just having toured more and more, you see bands that stick out and shine, and we've always been kind of sponges about, or try to be sponges about everything we do. And what I mean is absorb the good and learn from it, and know that we will never know everything. And so it's like seeing bands like, I know for me, just like watching Alter Bridge, and it's not anything. It's like that is the most amazing band you've seen in the world. They're all great players. They do a good job, but it's like seeing them. They're having a good time. They're smiling. I think so many bands don't even smile. It's like, do you even enjoy what you do?
Yeah.
And then from the stage show elements, kind of bands like Avatar that have a shtick. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's like the whole thing is a show. It's a very orchestrated piece of art, and learning from that, like what we can do, and that's how we've kind of grown over the years. I used to be like in this pots and pans suit like 15 years ago, and Johnny would play drums on me, and I kind of had this motorcycle helmet, and it was all to like, how do we get people to come back to the show when you can write a good song, but if sometimes it won't go over well, or it's like, yeah, it's good, but it's like, that's all that's happening. So what are you going to do to stand out? And so I think over the years, like, we learned how to take those pieces, those show pieces, and incorporate them into our set and into our vibe, and learn through all that. I don't know. What have you learned?
Yeah, it must be a little different being a drummer, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know, just really try to pay attention to just how, making sure that everyone that's in the venue hears, at least on a drum perspective, just a full, every note sounds the same.
Yeah.
That, I don't mean basic stuff, but just kind of to what Mark's saying too, just, you got to remember that we're playing music and it should be about having fun, and if you look like you're not having fun, how are you going to convince somebody else that, oh, we're having a good, you're not.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a difference between like feeling like you're having fun and actually like kind of conveying that message, because a lot of people can feel that way on the inside, but on the outside they're doing this or kind of stonewalled. So yeah, it's just really just being okay with loosening up and not just having fun with what we're doing. I feel like that's the biggest thing, that it just kind of, it's like that sixth sense that you can just kind of feel it. When you see a band, it's obvious when you can tell that it's like a natural, oh, they're just into it versus versus not.
And then just last thing here, so this tour still has many more dates on it, if I remember correctly, but kind of after this, what do you guys got planned for the rest of 2018 and going into next year?
Yeah, we're doing this really cool self-help festival that a Day to Remember puts on. We're doing one in Detroit, and that's with Limp Bizkit, actually, which would be crazy and really fun. I'm just looking forward to watching them because they're always awesome. That's at the end of September. Then we have a few weeks off after that, and we go to Europe with Bullet for My Valentine and Of Mice and Men. So that should be really great. It's really, really big venues. It should be just a great exposure for us over there, to keep growing. And at the end of the year, like right around Thanksgiving, we jump on with 3 Days Grace, and we'll do a Canadian tour and kind of go into deeper parts of Canada, like Halifax, Nova Scotia, and like Saskatoon and whatnot. So that'll be cool. I'm nervous because it'll be really, really cold.
Yeah, I would say November. Yeah, that's a good
yeah, November, December. Yeah, that's wild. But apparently that's like, people don't have anything to do, so they like touring really works that time of year.
Time to go see a movie, time to go to a concert.
Seems backwards to me, but that's awesome. Hey, we're gonna go.
Yeah, I'm just hoping to ride a dog sled at some point. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, for sure. Well, thank you guys so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it. Again, good luck with the show tonight. We're looking forward to seeing everything. If you guys just want to quickly just like plug, where can people find Nothing More on social media and all that type of stuff?
Sure, just Google Nothing More. It's as easy as that. Spotify, Apple Music, our website. I don't know, everything and else.
Yeah.
It's easy these days. You probably wonder if you can ask Siri if we pop up right then too.
Maybe.
It's a good question.
Well, I will say, a couple days ago, I did ask Siri what was the best Nothing More album, and they did say The Stories We Tell Ourselves. So make sure to check out The Stories We Tell Ourselves. I think it's on Spotify and Apple Music and everything like that. And again, for everything else, Nothing More, I mean, like, I feel like they're going to be endlessly touring, and probably even after, all that Canadian stuff, I'm sure they're going to be still around. So if you get, sure, there'll be a good chance to see them. But again, like, this is Chris Pegg with Austin Underground. Nothing More, Austin 360. We'll see you next time.